Welcome back, everyone. In this lesson, we're going to take a look at conditionals, and very importantly, we'll also cover what evaluates to false in Python, and basically generally everything else will evaluate to true. Let's go ahead and get started with conditionals. I'm going to create a brand new Python 3 notebook, and I will call this one 007 conditionals. So as you might expect, conditionals either evaluate, if I can spell properly, conditionals evaluate to true or false. Let me be a little bit more precise here. Okay. So I could say something like if true, print it was true. And you can see it says it was true. And if I say if false, print it was false. You notice that nothing shows up. So let's actually take a look at an example. I'm going to say language equals Python, and notice the capital P. If language is double equal, remember for comparisons we have to say double equal to Python. I'm using a lowercase p here. Don't forget your colon. Print true. And we have an else condition, and you still need the colon and the proper indentation. Print false. And notice it actually prints false. If I were to change this to a capital P, then it prints true. I'll switch it back to a lowercase p here. Shift enter. So we can do if-else statements. There's also an if or elif, short for else if statement. Say if I were to let the language be if language is double equal to Java, print Java. And then I can come here, do elif language is double equal to Python, colon, print Python. And the last statement being else, I can say print not sure. And notice it actually printed Python because I spelled the Python with a capital P this time. It's important to note that there is no switch case statements in Python. And as someone who doesn't like him at all, I'm very grateful for that myself. Let's take a look at boolean operators. More precisely, and, or, and not. Okay. I'm going to say user is equal to admin, and logged in is equal to, let's say, true. If user double equal admin and logged in is double equal to true, we are going to print logged in. Else, and please pay attention to the indentation, print, let's say, bad credentials. And in this case, we do get logged in. I am going to copy and paste all of this, and I'll change the logged into false. And of course, I'm going to get bad credentials this time. Okay. So that's pretty much all there is to it for doing an AND operation. If I were to paste this one even though if I change this to a false and change this and to an or, notice that I still get logged in because one of them is in fact true. Let's actually take a look at another example over here. So I'm going to paste this again with the true, and I'm going to say and not logged in double equal to false. So logged in is equal to false. Not logged in would make it basically true, which means that here we still get the logged in. So the not, of course, reverses the true to false and the false to true. We can also deal with this thing called object identity using the is keyword. This is quite important, so I hope that you pay attention. This tests whether two objects have the same ID in memory. Case in point, let A be equal to a list, let's say 1, 2, 3, and let B be equal to another list, 1, 2, 3. Well, that's good. Let's take a look at A. Let's take a look at B. Appears to be the same. Is A equal to B? And whoops. And that is true, but are A and B the same? A is B, and notice I get false. Although they both have the same values, they are still two different objects. If I were to print, I can use this ID function, ID of A and ID of B. You notice that I get two different values. Now the first few digits are the same, but if you look at the last few digits, you see that they are in fact two different objects. If I were to say B is equal to A, so basically I assign A to B, and then do the same print statement. Now you can see they are pointing to the same memory location, so they are in fact the same. So if I say A is B, I should get a true statement, and I do. Okay? Pretty cool, pretty interesting. This is one way for you to check to see if two objects are in fact the same exact object, not that their values are the same, but that they are the same. So there are consequences to this. If I were to print A and print B, you can see that I'm getting that. Now if I were to take A, it is a list, I can append, say 19 to it, and then print A, and then print B. Notice that I get the same list because both are pointing to the same memory location, so we're getting the same exact thing. So now what I'd like to show you is what evaluates to true and what to false in Python. Let's have a little general rule here. Everything that evaluates to false in Python. Let's take a look at them. So 1, the word false itself. 2, the special keyword none. 3, 0 of any numeric type. 4, any empty sequence or collection, like empty quotes, empty double quotes, parentheses, square brackets. And 5, any empty mapping, such as an empty set or dictionary. In general, everything else is generally evaluated to true. Let's actually take a look at this. So I'm going to create something that I'm going to copy and paste constantly. I'm going to have condition is equal to false, keyword. If condition print true, else print false. And notice that I get a false. So that shows the first one, number 1. I'm going to copy and paste this, and I'm going to change the condition to none and shift enter. Notice you still get false. Let's go ahead and copy and paste it and change the condition to the numeric value 0. I get false. Let's change this to 0.0 so it's a decimal. Notice I get false. Let's go ahead and take a look at empty quotes. And notice that is false. Let's take a look at an empty, set of parentheses. And that is false. Let's take a look at an empty list. And that is false. Let's take a look at an empty dictionary. And that is false. Let's take a look at an empty set. So to do that, I call the set constructor like that. And notice that that is false. So you can see that all of these things do evaluate to false. Now, obviously, if I were to change the condition here to something like true, I am going to get a true condition or a true result here, and I just want you to see that. What if the condition was something other than 0, say the number 1? You can see that that is a true statement. What if the condition is not an empty quote, but has maybe something in it? Notice that is true. What if the condition is not an empty tuple, but actually has something in it, such as 0, like that? And notice that is true. What if the condition is not an empty list, but actually has a list with an item in it? That is true. What if the condition is not an empty set? It is, let's say, the number 9 in it. Notice that is true. Even if it has the number 0 in it, that is true because it's not empty. It actually has something in it. Let's go back in here and take a look at putting in an actual dictionary. So I put in 1 colon and then pebbles. And you can see that is true. And I can even have something like this, and this may look a little strange, but I can have a list that contains an empty dictionary. Well, the list is technically not empty. So that's going to evaluate to true as well. So hopefully this gives you a great way of, when you're writing your code and you're scratching your head exactly what evaluates to true, what evaluates to false, knowing what evaluates to false always in Python is going to help you so you know what evaluates to true. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Thank you for being a great audience. If you're enjoying these, please share with loved ones and friends.